Hold a fast travel.
Välkommen alla sammen. I'm showing you a quick little anomaly here and giving you a walkthrough. These are not hard to find and they're pretty easy to get through, but there are a couple spots in here that are a little bit of a bitch, so I'm going to show you where. And like in all of my videos, I speak a little bit about Viking history so you can learn while you play. So today I'm going to speak about Jormungandr, or the Midgard Serpent, which many of you may have heard of, and what it actually represents in the Norse myths. It's one of Loki and Angerboda's children. It's a giant snake creature that was thrown into the sea, and it's so big it encircles the entire world with its own tail in its mouth. It's the creature that Thor is always hunting down and trying to defeat, until they finally meet at Ragnarok, and they fight to the death, and they both kill each other. Did our ancestors believe in all this nonsense? No. As you know, every creature, every god, every place and thing in our myths represents some aspect of nature. Some things a lot more spiritual than others. And Jormungandr, the main theory is that it represents the border between dimensions. And I'm going to speak about that in just a sec. This is not my theory. It comes from some university professors. I actually forget who. I read it a couple of years ago, but I can't remember it right now, but I'll put that name in the description when I remember it. So Jormungandr, this serpent, it encloses our world and forms a border to the world of the giants, which is also thought to be kind of a dimension that is filled with the devouring forces in nature, which, you know, we think it was meant to be in outer space somewhere. Now, Jotnar, the Old Norse word for giants, is actually translated wrong. It's not translated to giant. It's translated to devourer. So the giants were the devouring forces of nature. And the Midgard serpent basically form the border between our world and the next. Midgard doesn't represent our world as most people think. Midgard, there were a lot of things that represented the earth. They didn't need one more. Midgard represented our dimension, our realm, the realm of the living that we are in right now. And so Midgard serpent represents this border going into, could be the realm of death, could be other dimensions, we just don't know. But I'm going to speak about different ways we can get to these dimensions in other videos, or at least our ancestors believe so. So the fact that Jormungandr is in constant struggle with Thor is really relevant to this. Thor, it represents a lot of things in the myths, and they all go into, they have something to do with electricity. Here is a quick little thing, just pay attention to that in the game, where you're going to have to switch that little laser beam there so you can walk somewhere else, but just follow along. But anyway, Thor represents things that have to do with electricity. Thunder is the obvious one, but also the electromagnetic field. And also the electricity in ourselves and all other living things. Thor represents the electric signals present in us when we are alive and our heart is beating. Thor represents, in one level of the myths at least, it represents our life force. So that's why our own life force, along with other elements of electricity in the world, is always in constant strife with Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent, because it's the border between our dimension where we are living, where our life force is, and other dimensions. So you can look at some of the stories. One story is when Thor went out fishing and he caught Jormungandr and he almost killed him, but the seas rattled intensely and the universe kind of started to fall apart while Thor was about to kill him, but then Jormungandr escaped, so the world was able to exist some more. And there's another story when Thor, he's visiting the king of the giants, and his name was Utgardsloke, and he basically was challenged to a battle of strength, where Thor was supposed to lift up a cat, just lift up a cat from the ground, but the cat was disguised as the Midgard serpent. So Thor tries to lift this, but all he could do was lift one paw, and when he lifted one paw, all of the giants and everybody in the room were terrified, because he said if he lifted the cat completely, the borders of the universe would be completely altered. Also, Remember, another name for jormungandr is called løgesims, which means the thread of the sea, like a needle and thread. Jormungandr is like the thread that holds the sea together. Now, the sea in Old Norse poetry is a metaphor for the universe. And jormungandr is the thread that holds that universe together. So it makes perfect sense. Like I said, this is all theory, but it's theory by a lot of the experts, and it's the best one we have out there. So we're pretty sure it's right. I'm not saying that our primitive ancestors possessed scientific knowledge of dimensional travel and all things like that, but they had some knowledge of it. They had some knowledge through spiritual rituals of passing into the realm of the dead, or passing into other dimensions, passing into the realm of the god. They had rituals, shamanic rituals, possibly even psychoactive substances that help them do this. So they definitely were not scientists, I'm not saying that, but they had some knowledge of other realms that we could do, and it was our life force that was always in constant struggle with this, but we can never defeat it. And even if we did defeat it, the borders of the universe would be just skewed, and you know, we don't exactly know what happens, but we know it's probably not a very good thing. It would lead to a huge natural disaster. So that's about it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. I go into a lot more detail about this in my other channel with sources and you know, better breakdown of other theories as well. So that's in the link in the description below, but that's about it for this video. Vi ses nästa gång.